What is up, y'all? Capone Tony here, and welcome to another Ever Crisis video. So it is content update day in Ever Crisis. Not a lot of updates to go through here, mainly just new crossover countdown campaign and new banner. And yeah, let's just go right into the new banner like I typically do. And the new banner is Zack. This is something that we thought was going to be coming last week. We thought he was going to get like a physical fire weapon for Guild War, but that's not what happened. Instead, EC went kind of out of left field on this one, and they gave him something kind of weird for him. So let's just get right into it. So the Surfer look for Zack here, you know, it looks cool. It's he's literally Surfer Zack. He's got nice beach wear, swim trunks, like the color of his shirt. He's got flip-flop, he's got sunglasses, his sword is literally a surfboard, so pretty neat for a summer Zack fit. Lucia came back as well. I'll just cover this really fast. So this was her costume last year for, she got the Beach Agent, which I think is actually a really cool costume for her. She got HP plus 10%, plus 15% physical defense now. This stat got boosted a little bit with buff debuff extension, 60%. So this is a great costume for her. But you know, if you have her newest limited weapon, or I mean her newest limited costume, that thing's just amazing with reprieve and buff debuff extension as well. So you know, but if you already had this from last year, you do get a small little boost. You get a little small boost to HP, and that's pretty much it. But outside of that, yeah, if you want to get it for the cosmetics, you can as well. It's going to be on this banner. So if you pull a page, you're able to get a voucher and exchange it for the Lucia costume or the Zack costume. Or if you pull 2 pages, you can get both. All right, so anyway, the costume here on Zack. Boost ATK All Allies plus 10 points. Honestly, really good. This is a R ability that's typically reserved for limited limit break banner type of costumes. So, you know, pretty good. 10 points. That puts him at plus 5% to physical and magic attack for the whole party. Next thing, Seashell Necklace. So when granting physical attack up, the max potency tier is +1. This is interesting. So it does that. Other costumes have had this, but for like the high tier on like physical defense, or the high tier on physical attack down. I mean, +1 tier essentially, but yeah, this is the first one to get physical attack +1 tier. And he also has 20% physical ability damage. So let's just go into his weapon here, which I feel, honestly, the C ability on this weapon is really good. I just feel the weapon being on Zack just is awkward and does not make a whole lot of sense. I'll try to like put together some builds and scenarios where you might use it later on, but I don't know. The R abilities, when you combine with this weapon, it just does not make a whole lot of sense to me. So anyway, the weapon here, the Surfer Blade. Physical defense down. Physical defense is decreased low to mid, all enemies, and then 70% HP or more. Physical attack, low to high AOE on the whole party increase. So off the bat, this weapon is essentially the physical version of Aerith's Crimson Staff, which does magic attack up AoE and magic defense down AoE. So when you look at it from that perspective, that's really, really good, because Crimson Staff, it's an amazing weapon for Aerith. Honestly, one of the best support weapons in the whole game. And now Zack's got a physical version of it. The problem is, it's on Zack, who is a DPS character. I know Ever Crisis previously talked about this in their live stream. They want to do something to improve Zack as a character, because he's fallen so far behind as a DPS character in this game. But giving him a support weapon is just, I don't know. It does not make a whole lot of sense to me. And plus, when you look at the R abilities, like the R abilities, 4652 at OB10 is actually really, really good. The only other R ability or weapon that has these R abilities at this high is Yuffie's Birds of Prey, which is a limited crossover weapon. So the R abilities are actually fantastic on this weapon, but why not have something like a buff debuff extension on this weapon, because it is a you know, a support weapon, right? I mean, the R abilities are great as a you know, a DPS character weapon, but you know, this is not a DPS weapon. See, like, it's just it's just contradicting each other. The C ability with the R abilities. I don't know. It's just weird to me. But anyway, PATK, and XIII Boost are the support command materia slot abilities, whatever. OB1, you're getting 530 AOE, low to mid on PATK Up with a little extra duration. You get 30 seconds on the duration at high potency on both on the first cast. So physical defense on all the enemies is decreased. PATK Up AOE on all the your allies. And then OB10, you'll get an extra 10 seconds. So 40 seconds is actually pretty good for both of these buffs and debuffs here. But I still feel you need at least one weapon or like back weapon to have some kind of buff debuff extension. So you won't have to constantly cast this over and over again because, right, like I said, he's a DPS character and you don't want him to be casting support abilities constantly in the battle. You know, passing it every 40 seconds at OB10, you know, not great. I mean, especially under OB10, you're at what, 30, 25, and 20. That's like that's casting an AoE support ability way too often for a DPS character. And I guess the other problem I have with this weapon is what the heck do you combine with it? I feel it would be like Ceremonial Sword, right? Is that like the only thing I'm thinking of here because of the you know, non-elemental damage on that weapon? Because I feel like if you're gonna be using Zack's kit here, so let's just go into Zack real quick. Oops. Let's go into his wishlist. So Zack has multiple physical damage weapons here. He has physical ice with pressure ridge. He has physical wind, but that was a limited FF9 banner weapon. He also has physical lightning, which was a limited Monster Hunter banner weapon that we'll probably never see again. So he has 3 different physical elemental weapons. But I feel like you wouldn't combine this with those weapons, right? You would combine the exploit weapon, right? Sword of the Hunt. So you can cast exploit on himself for 60 seconds. And you get, you know, good R abilities, boost attack, and ability potency, right? That seems like it makes more sense to me for his physical elemental weapons. So yeah, the only way it wouldn't make, you know, it would make sense to put this with his physical elemental weapons would be if like he had a Yuffie or a Red 13 to cast exploit on Zack instead, or you just cast exploit from his ultimate weapon, right? But I don't know, man. this him being a buffer debuffer as a DPS character, it just does not make a lot of sense to me. But it is a great R ability weapon, really good R ability weapon. I mean, in the C ability, like I said, it's really good. It's just on Zack, it just feels awkward, right? And but if you actually built him as a support character, you could run Twinkling Star in the main hand, where you would get magic attack down decreased up to high, and you would get an all cure slot. So you could technically do magic attack down, physical defense down, P-attack AoE up to extra high, or just extra high if you had the costume. And you can do all cure. He can be a cure character as well, but like I said, his support role doesn't have any benefits of him being a support character or a healer, right? That's why it's just awkward, right? But yeah, for me, man, I think it's a very easy skip. I think it is a wish listable weapon later. I think it could come into use for something like a guild war, possibly a physical non-elemental guild war. And the way I see that build being for Zack, let's pretend you have his new weapon here. And then you could run like Ceremonial Sword for a 1400% physical non-elemental damage, which is still not like super great for 5 ATB, by the way. But the R abilities, P-attack, physical ability potency, and then the new weapon, P-attack, physical ability potency, kind of mesh well together. You're kind of maxing both of those out, which is those 2 weapons. And then the back weapons, you can kind of just focus on like boost attack with buff debuff extension. So you don't have to cast that buff debuff on his new weapon. You won't have to cast it as often. It'd be like a minute and 30 seconds if you had it like OB10 with a 52 points in buff debuff. So yeah, and you would get some boost attack there from that weapon from Sid, Slash Lance. And then you would get Radiant Lance. You could do more boost attack, ability potency, and then something like Ivy Collar with more boost attack and ability potency. Or you could just use like Lucia's new weapon, boost attack all allies with buff debuff extension, right? So this would be like just a non-elemental build. Like I said, again, I just feel like this weapon doesn't make a lot of sense for his elemental builds because you would be using Sword of the Hunt, I feel, for those physical elemental builds. So, yeah. But yeah, if you were to max this out, let's say you get 62 points in the P attack here, you would be at level 7 on everything. You would be at level 7 physical attack, boost attack, ability potency, physical ability potency, you would have a level 4 buff debuff. So from that perspective, you what, 15,000 physical attack, and you would basically, because I have 2 support characters that are at boost attack all allies, physical attack all ally weapons, but still 15,000 physical attack, and from a 1400% physical non-elemental weapon, plus he's doing AOE physical attack up to 4 tiers on 2 other characters. So that's the way I possibly could see it. Is it could be good for a physical non-elemental guild war. It could maybe be good for maybe a battle ranking, maybe because of you're doing 4 tiers up on physical attack up. Maybe that'll help the max damage increase on a certain character in a battle ranking or a dungeon ranking. I'm not really sure, man. I need more of y'all's suggestions on this. How do you see this weapon fitting into Zack? Is it just me, or does it just seem awkward because he's a DPS character? It's a support weapon with our abilities of a attacker, right? I don't know. Let me know what y'all think of this. For me, honestly, very easy skip. Almost anything was going to be a skip anyways, because as you can see now, Dragon Quest is going to be next week. So, and this is a featured banner, so if you do really want this weapon, you can wishlist it later, like with all featured weapons. The costume, getting 4 tiers up from Zack's PATK AOE increase is, neat, I guess, but I think going from 3 tiers to 4 tiers is like, extra 10% damage or something like that. It's not really super significant. So, again, I don't know. You have until August 20th to pull on this if you want. But with all these limited banners coming up with Dragon Quest soon, I assume you're going to want to pull on those instead. Or just save your crystals for Anniversary in September. Alright, so yeah, what do y'all think of the Zack banner? What do you think I'm missing when examining this banner? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright, so let's cover the rest of the updates. Not a whole lot going on here. So the Dragon Quest Tact crossover countdown campaign is on now. Pretty interesting. I think this is a game that went EOS on the global side. It's only in Japan right now. We're having a crossover for it, so kind of interesting. I don't know. I guess it's still just gonna have like Dragon Quest characters from Dragon Quest games and whatnot. I don't really have any nostalgia toward Dragon Quest. I do want to play like Dragon Quest 11 or the Dragon Quest 3 remaster one day, but yeah, the 2D HD one. But yeah, eventually I'll do that. But once I have the time for it. But anyway, for this campaign here, you'll be able to clear some quick missions, get these the slime medals to be used toward a exchange, I guess. I don't think the exchange is here right now, though. So yeah, I don't see this Dragon Quest Tact exchange. So I guess once that opens up like next week, you'll be able to use these medals for whatever. Not really sure yet. But yeah, we're going to have login bonuses, and we're going to have missions here that you can do. Very easy missions. Just use stamina. You'll get these Dragon Quest Tact crossover boxes, which you can exchange for specific character weapon parts. And based on these 4 characters that are in here, it seems like Cloud, Aerith, Zack, and Sephiroth are going to be the banner characters if these characters in this weapon box are an indicator of anything. So yeah, if you want to pull on one of these characters, I assume you want to save those crystals and see what those banners look like. So yeah, Dragon Quest Tactics. Other missions, use some co-op stamina, log in, clear some premium quests. It's very straightforward stuff. Well, I still got to use Zack in a battle for this chapter release one. Okay, so yeah, so knock that out real quick. Other than that, there's no other like real content updates this week. There is this notice here about regarding iOS 26 and iPad iOS 26 said you can't play the game if you update to this version of iOS. So if you're an iPad user or an iPhone user, you might want to hold off on doing an update to 26, or you're not going to be able to play the game on your device. So I guess Ever Crisis will update this soon, but yeah, this is a big notice if you're a mobile-only user for this game. I play on Steam more than mobile, but yeah, it's a big, yeah, you definitely want to not upgrade to iOS 26 if you are an Apple-only user. All right, other than that, there was not much for this week's update. Honestly, kind of disappointing. No new events. There was Guild War. So yeah, collect your stuff for Guild War. Let's see here. Guild battle results. We were 7th. Let's go. Top 10 again for CB Levy. That is my 7th time. Final Fantasy 7. Pretty good Guild War, I feel. We did have a lot of we had a lot of I think just issues with Guild War. There was a lot of lag, which was not great because the sigil phase in this Guild War is extremely tight as is. So if you got lag, you were really screwed. We had multiple disconnections too from players. So that's the real issue with Guild War. If they can't figure out these server issues with Guild War, it's really going to deter, you know, the big spenders of this game. So Ever Crisis really has to do something about these servers in their game, because big spenders are going to get pissed if, you know, something like this keeps continuing to happen. I did not thankfully have many issues with Guild War. Actually, my last 2 hits, I hit a 77% on stage 5 with fire below Sephiroth. So I saved like my best hits for last. I think it was a decent Guild War overall for me. But yeah, again though, top 10 for the guild, still extremely solid. And yeah, what did y'all think of Guild War? I think the battle was actually, I didn't think it was too bad, as long as you did not have server issues, which the problem is a lot of people seem like they have server issues, and that's something that Ever Crisis badly needs to address, in my opinion. And yeah, I think a lot of people in my guild are actually going to be submitting support tickets about it. So yeah, if you really have issues when it comes to Guild War and it comes to their servers and, you know, having lag or just other suggestions about Guild War, I definitely would recommend submitting support tickets about that. But alright, I think that is pretty much going to cover it for this update in Ever Crisis. Pretty slow week. Next week we are going to be at the start of a new crossover, which is going to probably be the start of 8 weeks of limited banners, if I were to guess. So I hope you saved your crystals. But for me, I'm still going to have to be very selective on what I pull on. I could maybe pull on maybe 3 or 4 banners in these events here, maybe more. It just depends on how many crystals they give us for crossover and for the anniversary. So yeah, look forward to that. Probably gonna be a lot of content. I assume these events are gonna have a small little boost to player base, because Dragon Quest is very big in Japan. I think it's a pretty big franchise overall for Square Enix, and anniversary is always a bump up for this game. It's just somewhat concerning about the long-term growth of this game, because outside of these like big events that encourage spending on limited banners, once it goes to like more of a feature banner time frame, that's when the game really starts to you know, lose its player base and whatnot. But again, I don't know, I still feel like the game still needs to do something to keep things fresh. We need new different types of events. Add freaking Queen's Blood to the game. Add maybe more mini games, Gold Sauce or something like that. Something to like kind of freshen up the game. That's just my opinion though. Alright y'all, that is going to do it for this Ever Crisis update video. If y'all enjoy my Ever Crisis content, please give this video a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all on the next one. Later.